Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today we're talking about some fundamental changes that are coming to Star Citizen with Alpha 4.0, the engineering, gameplay and resource network stuff. But this also means that there's no more artificial health pools for ships and vehicles. There's armor and weapon choice matters a load more. There's a much better multi-crew experience, power management, damage control, life support, absolutely tons of stuff under this umbrella that's coming with Alpha 4.0, at least in their initial forms. This is all from an Inside Star Citizen that we recently had with an additional bit of context, which I'm adding, and a bit of discussion about some of the ship changes that they are making, like with the Redeemer. A lot of people very unhappy that they've effectively nerfed the Redeemer quite hard, but when we see what the other plans they've got are, it might not be as much of a nerf as you think. Also, check out the links down below to help support the channel. You got NordVPN stuff there. Oh, VPN, probably pretty useful in this day and age. Go click it. Also, at the end of the video, I'll probably be talking about it. Engineering gameplay, anyway, is built on the resource network system. So this replaces the older pipe system that we've had in the game. It's the circuitry of ships. It heralds new mechanics, but also fire and life support systems. It's not just spaceships that make use of these. It's also vehicles and structures, stations. The first iterations of these are coming in 4.0, but what are these first iterations going to be like? Well, they add meaningful multi-crew gameplay with damage control, engineering, component targeting, and greater command of your ship's systems. All your items now communicate with the network, giving you feedback on your engineering panels, MFDs, if a system's damaged, broken, unpowered, and CIG are physicalizing all of the ship's components. Now, I think most are going to be physicalized for 4.0. Obviously, there's going to be some components that don't have use yet, that they may not physicalize, and it might not be everything, but they're working towards that. You'll want to designate some roles on larger ships as well now, because you're going to want to have teams dealing with rerouting power, repairing broken systems, replacing components, putting out fires, especially on those big ships. Otherwise, you're just going to find your ship stop working, just dead in the water at some point, or explode. Power plants make energy. Shields and weapons and coolers, they use that energy. Coolers generate a coolant resource. There are some new components coming in as well. There are relays that need fuses, that you'll need to replace these fuses during combat and damage typically. Life support systems are there as well. They effectively make oxygen and a breathable atmosphere, but also deal with temperature and a load of other stuff. They're moving away from artificial health pools for ships as well. Your components will effectively be what you need to protect, as losing power to them or them being destroyed will disable your ship or reduce functionality. Damage the component, not the ship, will then be what people do when they're fighting. This is a big change. It replaces soft deaths. Ships won't explode so much though. Power plants can go critical sometimes, be aware of that, but also ships that are disabled can potentially come back to life if repaired. Life support deals with pressure, temperature, atmosphere. Players will consume oxygen. Opening a door to space will vent the atmosphere. Life support needs to be kept powered to help manage these resources. Also, put out fires, vent rooms, things like that. That's useful. Obviously, if you have a fire, it will increase the temperature in that area, but also consume a load of the oxygen. Misfires and malfunctions are a thing. Components that are old, damaged, overworked might misfire. These might cause a fire or stop working, but in the case of a critical power plant failure, your ship will explode. This can happen if a power plant gets to 0 health and then no one deals with it in time, so it will sort of start to go critical. Either repair it or throw it out in airlock at that sort of stage. A limited range of misfires are coming with Alpha 4.0, but they will be adding more later. Really interested to know if it's a viable tactic to send someone across to a ship and block entrance to a power plant area while they sabotage the power plant and then sort of defend that. An interesting idea, right? Armor and damage penetration are a thing here as well. So this is a simplified version of a system that they're working on. So this is what we'll be getting in 4.0, but more will be coming later. Certain weapons can penetrate the hull and armor of a ship. Also, it appears that armor, very much a component when shields fail. Armor is effectively a item that will deplete over time on a ship. It sounds like ballistics are typically better at ignoring some armor and getting adding to the components behind. Larger ballistics might entirely ignore and cut through lower armor values. Energy weapons typically damage the armor, melt the armor away first. It sounds like armor will mitigate both types of damage to some degree, or can, unless overpenetrated by like a larger ballistic weapon. Your weapon choice will really matter, and it's going to be based on what you think you might engage and all that sort of stuff. Now, I want to say something a bit about this here. The Redeemer recently saw CIG change its, or say they're going to change its 2 large shields to 6 medium shields. They also nerfed its weapons by a size on its turrets. Now, at current numbers in-game, that is a massive, effective health drop by a magnitude. However, hull and armor on the Redeemer may very well make up for this, and the redundancy of having multiple systems might actually prove to be useful, or at least to its benefit in some way, at least in some situations. That said, we don't know until this is all in our hands. I'm just saying that this is a possibility, and it's not a unlikely possibility either. This could literally be where they want the ship to go. But CIG's component loadouts for ships are likely to continue to be updated and changed. They're going to be based on a few things, including all of these new mechanics. Anyway, repair and maintenance is also important in here. So you'll have multi-tools and the dedicated salvage repair tools, as well as tracked beams and being able to do fuse and component replacements by hand. You can also use fire extinguishers to put out areas or components on fire. It seems that even fully destroyed items can actually be brought back online, though not to 100%, just with tools. You'll need to go and actually replace that component or bring it to a station for repair in certain situations. The size 3 large components as well, size 3 and above, can't be replaced basically by hand. You'll need to replace those at a station. There's also power management, which is a big thing now too. You can under and overpower items. This is done via the engineering and power terminals on ships, and sort of ships that don't have that will at least have an MFD for like the pilot or whatever to be able to have some level of power management access. Underpowering items, I believe, make a component last longer. Having some power redundancy is also a good idea in case you run low for some reason, you lose a power plant, or there's a potential partial break in a chain. You can see the sort of status of components on those power management menus, those engineering terminals. Is it on fire, damaged, offline? There's sort of like at a glance you can see if it's red in bad condition, yellow something might be going on with it, or blue it's in good condition. Each item has power management options as well. There's a fuel gauge, which is going to be used in future releases. Coolers need power, otherwise they won't produce coolant, and then things will overheat. You can see heat accumulation and coolant generation. Balancing power to your systems will put you in a good position. You have a limited power pool. You can't power everything fully. I believe that's what CIG had previously said. So you've got limited power. You'll want to sort of prioritize stuff in different situations. You'll also have warning notifications appear as part of that screen, and you can set what stations have authority over power management. You can save power management presets and load them when you want. Presets are stored locally, so you can sort of save them to your computer, and then you can apply them to someone else's ship potentially. It might not apply perfectly due to differences in components, etc. CIG did say some ships are already fully functional with this, some they're still working on to get into 4.0. When I say fully functional, obviously fully functional with 4.0, which is the next major patch, which we're expecting by the end of the year. Some other interesting things of note: the new systems allow them to have multiple types of hydrogen fuel with different effects if they want, and that will almost certainly be in a future release. They said at CitizenCon they were going to showcase the future of Star Citizen beyond 4.0. We know there's some cool stuff coming at CitizenCon with like homesteads. There's going to be tons of panels. And Inside Star Citizen is now on a break until after CitizenCon, it seems. Also, these updates coming to 4.0 should likely have more component and loadout changes, balance updates, and obviously there's a ton of fundamental changes here to how ships operate. We're going to be having some combat and master mode improvements hopefully as well, all shaking out for a more enjoyable, deeper experience for combat and flight would be my expectation for 4.0, but we're going to have to wait and see. Boom! That's it for your Star Citizen updates and Inside Star Citizen summary today. Really excited for that engineering gameplay coming to the Persistent Universe. Obviously more refined than the test modes that we have in Arena Commander. But armor and penetration and all that sort of stuff, really, really big changes to combat here. I'm expecting after this update goes live with the 4.0, balance will be a big thing. They'll actually start putting more variety in components and weapons and having a lot more meaningful balance when it comes to ships and combat and dogfighters versus larger multi-crew ships and all that sort of stuff. A lot more roles and archetypes being exposed. But yeah, it's just the customization potential for all of these ships and vehicles. That sort of excites me. It's one of the things I used to love in EVE Online, making loadouts for ships. I could spend hours doing that. And if they have a load of component variety like they're planning to in Star Citizen, then I think I'm going to be pretty happy with that as well. But what do you think? Are you excited for engineering coming into the game and all of those sort of components that are part of it? Do you like the idea of ships' soft death system being replaced with this? Are you concerned that everything is going to be not working in the way that you want? The combat's going to be worse somehow? Master modes are going to make the game terrible? Or are you actually pretty excited for it and willing to see what this actually brings to the game in 4.0. Whatever your thoughts or questions though, chuck it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, collecting questions at the moment for CitizenCon. As I'm attending the event, I'm going to be talking to a load of devs. So if you've got questions that you'd like me to ask the devs, chuck it in the comments. I'll typically sort of merge them all together into relevant questions. And if I see a dev that's appropriate to ask, I will ask those questions. Thanks very much for watching. What's in the box? That is what Pandora asked. She was told not to open that box, but she did. The internet is like Pandora's box, full of the chaos of the world. And Pandora basically opened an email attachment asking to help a millionaire prince move money around. Bam! It was Medusa all along. You've turned to stone. Foolish! You should know your Greek mythology. What's not foolish is nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. NordVPN is potentially one of the greatest Greek mythological heroes. It helps protect you from the terrors of the internet, helping you be more secure and private, while also giving you great accessibility. You can use my links down below to get NordVPN cheap. September, we've got a giveaway. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and this month is no different. We're giving away 5 ships this month. Actually, that is a bit different. That's 4 more than normal. We're going to give each of them to a different winner. We've got a Nomad, an X1, a Sulen, a Mustang Alpha, and a 100i. They all come with access to the game and lifetime insurance. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning any of those is comment on any of my videos made during the month on YouTube. I want to say a massive thank you to all our patrons and channel members. Your support allows us to make daily content. You are the best, and you should consider joining them by clicking the join button under my videos. It goes a long way in helping us, as does commenting, sharing videos, liking, all of that jazz. You do not have to chuck money at us, but if you want to, I'm not going to stop you. Thanks for watching, and have a great September.